Welcome, everybody, to the Pro Football Report. You're listening to that, presented by BCWSA, right here on 1490 WBCB, 107.3 FM, and live at WBCBSports.com streaming. I'm Paul Jolovitz, in for Merrill Reese today. Merrill, the newly minted Hall of Famer. Congratulations to Merrill as we start this 2024 season. Our guest tonight is somebody I've wanted on for a long time. He's not here anymore, which is why we don't have him on our regular shows. He was an Eagles tight end, fourth-round pick in 2010 out of Ryan Howard's Missouri State. He is a guy who played a couple years for the Eagles, went around the NFL, played for 6 or 7 teams, now a pundit in Chicago, where he's from, talking about the Eagles and the NFL this year, Mr. Clay Harbor. Clay, thanks so much for being here.
Appreciate that, Paul. Always good to join you, man. I know we go way back, and we're talking off camera about the one time I saved your tail when Jason Kelsey, the multi-$100 billion man, had to cancel on one of your interviews, and I showed up like Batman to save the day.
We had Jason Kelsey on our Monday night kickoff, which incidentally Paul Domowitz and I will kick off from the pub in Conshohocken on September 9th. We were doing the show, and Jason Kelsey was supposed to be on. He was at a furniture store getting something for his house, obviously, and lost track of time, called me up, said, I don't think I'm going to make it. We had 2 hours, either a guest or no guest. We dialed Batman, a.k.a. Clay Harbor, who came and saved the day. So, Clay, you can do no wrong with me whatsoever, but we're going to see what kind of right you have to do on this show. Cuts today in the NFL, 4 o'clock. Everybody cut down to 53. Practice squads will be filled tomorrow. Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie getting going. You looked at the Eagles' cuts. Anything surprise you?
No, I thought it was pretty straightforward. I was a little surprised that they only kept the 5 receivers. You know, Johnny Wilson made the roster, Britton Covey. I think Howie, knows what he's doing with Aeneas Smith, putting him on the reserved injured list. Worked out well for him because you don't want to subject him to waivers. His odds are he's not going to make it. Paris Campbell, I thought, would have an outside shot to make this roster. The Birds only kept 2 tight ends. I think there's a chance that maybe one of these guys that got released could end up on the practice squad, or they could go find someone else and bring them on the active roster. Because 2 tight ends, I mean, back in my day with Brent Selleck, there was only 2 of us from 2010 to 2013. But nowadays, and especially when you don't have a fullback, you have to carry more than 2 tight ends because one goes down, you're in a world of hurt. So those were the only things that really stood out to me. 3 quarterbacks. A lot of teams are keeping 2 this year. So those are the few things I thought was interesting. But besides that, I thought it was pretty straightforward.
A lot of people thought Kenny Pickett could be dealt to the Vikings, where they lost J.J. McCarthy and the like. You have to say on game day who your number 2 quarterback is. You can't fool anybody because there's rules about who dresses, who plays. Pickett's going to be number 2 apparently, and Tanner McKee number 3. The number 1, though, Jalen Hurts, has a lot to live up to after a so-so year last year, had a great year in 2022. New coordinator, Kellen Moore. There's a record he set at training camp, Clay, that I'm not the world's biggest fan of. I don't dislike it either. It's a great thing, 300 and whatever passes without interception at practice. But to me, I mean, I think he gets the offense. I think he's going to be fine. Is that record a little bit silly, or am I dreaming?
I don't think it's that important. I think some people think, oh, he must not be throwing the ball down the field. He's worried. He's like taking care of the ball because he doesn't want to throw interceptions in training camp. No, he was out there. I was only at 2 days of training camp, but what I saw, I really liked with the Eagles.
Good.
Hurts looked like the Hurts of 2022, and I think that was more of athleticism. He looked like he had his speed back, and Kellen Moore was calling the quarterback runs, which I liked. Use that, utilize that. I know you don't want to do it too much because he's going to get banged up, and Jalen's usually pretty smart about getting down and avoiding hits, but he's using a ton of motion. That's something that jumped off the page to me last year. It looked like the Eagles' offense was just always stationary. One thing learned from bouncing around a bunch of different teams, the quarterbacks that played at a high level, Jolly, they like to use a lot of motion and shifts. Because the defense, if you put a lot of pressure on them with those motion and shifts, it'll start tipping their hand. It's like you're taking a multiple choice test. I know you took a lot of tests back in your day. And instead of having 6 questions, now you only got 2. There's only 2. It's only 2 possible defenses because now you got this guy. There's a linebacker outside with a running back. So it has to be man to man. What type of man? What kind of buzz? What are the safeties doing here? Okay, now you got a cornerback on a tight end because the tight end's outside. That's not man to man. If it's man to man, you're gonna have a safety or a linebacker on the tight end. So now you start narrowing things down. The other thing it does, obviously, is it confuses the defense. I saw a lot of bunch plays, switch releases. Okay, you got to know your stuff when you're going against an offense that does that. Some window dressing. So I think Kellen Moore has had a lot of success with that. So I think it's going to kind of rejuvenate the Eagles' offense, and especially Jalen Hurts, the way he was looking when I was there. Him and Devontae and AJ all looked like they're on the same page, and looked like it's going to be a big year, more 22, not 2023.
I think a lot of people don't realize that motion, they're also going to be under center. We'll see about the tush push, whatever, as the games start in Brazil, which we'll talk about in a little while. But I think people don't realize so much that motion is for a couple of reasons. Obviously to run your guys around, but you're trying to diagnose the defense and where defense moves to. Where does the safety move to? Do people switch off? Is it man or zone? And a quarterback has to process that in 0.2 of a second. And the good ones, the great ones like Peyton Manning do and can. And I think Jalen's a smart kid. And physically very good, but I think one of his greatest attributes is his mind, and Kellen Moore is maxing that out now. I expect a good year for him. But the question I have for you now is, who has a bigger job with the 2024 Eagles? Lost 6 of their last 7 last year. We all know about the last couple of years, the Super Bowl. 6 or 7 last year, got murdered in the playoffs by the Buccaneers. Got 2 new coordinators. Nick Sirianni, the head coach, he's in charge of either side, doesn't call plays. So it's really the coordinator's show. I'm not sure what Nick Sirianni's role will be. He's mentioned it a few times, but who has a bigger role, Clay, in the success of the Eagles this year, given the players, the expectations, and everything? A, Moore, Kellen. B, Fangio, Vic.
I think Kellen, man. I think Kellen. Here's the deal: the Eagles last year had one huge weakness on offense. The defense was all over the place, but on offense there was just one huge weakness. And once you show that weakness, you're just going to keep getting it over and over and over and over again. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's called zero blitz.
Yep.
First thing you handle, and we have whole periods designed for zero blitz. It's called blitz period. How do you not have answers for zero? That's the most common blitz you go against. Okay, here's what we got on zero. If you're smelling, you have to have an outlet for whatever reason. The Eagles acted like they had never seen zero blitz. I don't know, maybe they didn't let the Eagles have the blitz period last year. But this year, Kellen Moore has to be crisp with the blitz because you're going to get it early in offense. You watch the tape last year. I know there's some defensive coordinators saying, I'm not 100% certain that Jalen Hurts knows how to play against the blitz. So they're going to test him like crazy. And I mean, obviously, Kellen Moore is a very experienced offensive coordinator, but they're going to get a ton of zero. They're going to get corner fires. They're going to get dog blitzes up the middle. They're going to get all type of blitzes because of what happened last year. The Eagles, everybody, me and you knew that what was coming. The Giants game before the playoff, in the playoff, we all knew what they were going to do, and they still couldn't do anything against it. So
I agree with you. The simplicity. I mean, people knowing what the lineup, no motion. They kind of knew what the plays were going to be. Obviously, both coordinators, we know what happened on defense, but the zero blitz, you're right, was a big problem for the Eagles. And on defense, Fangio looks like he's going to blitz a little bit more. Got a couple new linebackers. Jalen Carter's got to step up. So does Jordan Davis. The safeties are kind of thin. They kept James Bradbury, a bunch of young corners to go with Darius Slay, including the first-round pick, Quinion Mitchell. But the key to me, Clay, on defense, I mean, there's many keys, many new pieces, and Vic Fangio's job is to put those in better positions. That edge rush, though, the pure getting to the passer. Can Jalix Hunt do it? Nolan Smith from last year. Do you think the Eagles have Bryce Huff, if he plays more snaps than last year? A lot of people worry about the Eagles getting to the quarterback. It's got to come from the outside primarily. Can they do that?
I'll be honest. I mean, this isn't the same Eagles edge rush that we've seen in the last few years. I think it's different. I know me, and then when I look at a team and I'm watching film, I'm out there at practice, I look at it as a player still. I go, if I'm playing tight end and I'm looking at this Eagles defensive line, Josh Sweat is good. Bryce Huff is a good pass rusher.
Yeah, let me
Obviously,
interrupt you for a
BG.
second. Oh, let me
Yeah,
interrupt you. The Eagles have an edge pass rusher that was drafted so long ago that he was drafted in the first round the same year a tight end named Clay Harbor was drafted. Refresh me as to his name and where he is right now.
yeah. Brandon Graham is still playing, man. I'm waking up with lower back pain, and he's still playing NFL football, man. It's wild.
Does he have anything left?
I mean, I don't think you're going to get much. I think that's another reason they kept six edge rushers. I think you're going to get 10 to 15 big plays from BG this year. I think that's all you need him for situationally. And you're going to have to rely on Jalix Hunt, some of these young guys. Josh Sweat's going to have a big year. I think Bryce Huff is going to have to play more than he's used to playing, than he was playing with the Jets. And I don't know if these guys are going to be able to do that. Jalen Carter is going to have to be the Jalen Carter from the first 9 games last year, not the last 8. He's going to have to keep that going. He's not going to be able to hit that rookie wall. You need a big year from Jordan Davis. You're going to have to get some rush from the interior. Because when I look at these edge rushers, these aren't the old edge rushers from the Eagles the last few years. You're going to have to get that interior pressure from Jalen Carter if you want to affect the quarterback like you have in the past. And I think, yeah, the defensive backs has got better. I didn't think that I love Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's a competitor. When I was at camp, he was chirping up A.J. Brown, shut him down a few times in one-on-ones. Cooper DeJean was playing in the last preseason game. That's not a good sign. He was getting beat too. So I think
He had a problem with the injury with the hamstring, and they wanted to get him some game action.
yeah.
That's the only reason I think he played.
Yeah, and he didn't look great. I think they're going to bring him along slowly. And I'm not saying this guy's going to be a bust, but I don't want James Bradbury. What's safety supposed to tackle? He can't tackle. Hey, would you see this guy trying to tackle people last year? Am I the only one
It surprised me that he made the team. I mean, if there's one guy that I'm surprised, and James Bradbury is a wonderful person, but so is my dad. I don't want my dad playing football with the Eagles. James Bradbury is converted to safety. They only got 3 safeties on the roster. So if Howie tweaks it on the wire or makes a deal before the opener, wouldn't be surprised to add a safety to CJ, GJ, Reed Blankenship, and James Bradbury. Anybody more surprising make the roster than Bradbury to you?
I think, yeah, Bradbury was a shock. And when I was at camp, he was getting beat at safety. And that's like, if you're getting beat at safety, you're supposed to be a quarterback that can't tackle that well. Then what the heck are you doing out here? You're not playing special teams. This guy's collecting checks. I mean, I'm happy for him, but in my opinion, I mean, that's a little bit interesting. But I think Keely Ringo, I think the cornerback's going to be interesting. Obviously, Slay, Rogers, Quinion, who's going to play, then how are we going to do Avante Maddox? Who's going to be the slot defender? Is it Quinion? Is it Maddox? Who's going to be the slot defender to start the season? That's a question I got.
All right, we got a lot of questions to get to, a lot of answers to get to. When we come back, I have a trivia question for Clay Harbor relating to something that he is an avowed expert at. We got a lot more to talk to him. We're all around the NFL. What happened elsewhere? Cuts. The 6 young quarterbacks. We'll talk about that. Much more. Clay lives out in Chicago. Big guy with the Bears this year. We'll talk about Caleb Williams and much more when we come back on the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right after this. Stay with us.
Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitalgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capital Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com. Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's summer of shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA. Prove it.
That sounds good. It says this meeting is being recorded now.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA. Prove it.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I got a trivia question for Clay right now. Clay is probably the top expert in this country on the NFL Combine. Many people call him Mr. Combine. And with that in mind, I have a question, Clay. At the 2010 NFL Combine, who led the all rookies that year in the bench press of 225 pounds? Who might that be?
Oh, the guy led the tight end room it was a 6-year span. There wasn't a tight end that had more bench press reps than him, and that was me. Also, a 40-inch vertical there, Paul. That's
Wow.
40-inch vertical. Besides Jordan Dickerson, the wide receiver that was a tight end our year at the combine. Once again, that was like a 5-year span. Nobody with a 40-inch vertical was top 5 in tight end history up until a couple of years ago. And then, I didn't run that passer in a 4.62, but got down to a 4.5 something in my pro day.
I ran a 4.62, but I didn't run 40 yards doing it. I think I ran 23 yards. The combine, we talk about that. The vertical jump, the testing. Is there too much of that, Clay, and not enough pop in the tape and see the football player? I think we've gone a little bit too far on the combine side. I know we talk about Mike Mamuli here and other people, but pop in the tape, see what the guy did on a football field, and the other stuff's the condiment, not the main course. Do you agree in general?
Yeah, I think obviously the tape is what matters, and then what matters the second most is the mindset of these guys, and I'm talking maturity level, the smarts, because an NFL playbook, those things look a lot different than a college playbook. Let me tell you, you start flipping this thing and just being able to know it like that, and then testing to see if these guys can really read things quickly. And to me, those are the main things of a pro. And then obviously the makeup of a guy, is he gonna, as cliche as it sounds, Paul, is he gonna get in early? Is he gonna stay late? Is he really a football player? Is he doing this because he loves ball? Because I've seen a lot of guys that don't love ball. They like the money, they like the status, and they're doing it, and they just don't live up to what they're supposed to be. But the guys that love ball, the guys that come in, stay late, work hard, to me, those are the guys that end up overachieving and being the guys that last the longest in the league. So the 40, the 5'10", 5, yeah, maybe you can get to see a guy's athletic profile, but what matters the most is the mental makeup. I think size has something to do as well, even more so than like the speed and stuff, especially at different positions. But sometimes if you're just a big dude, like D-line, O-line, harder to move you, easier to move you, linebackers, you just see these guys and you can really feel that weight.
All right, let's look at this year's combine, this year's rookies, and a position that most people agree is the most meaningful in sports, the quarterback position. Clay, all last year, I liked one quarterback in college better than any other. I'll say it right now. I think he was the best coming into the league. I think he'll do the best in the league. I was shocked at where he was drafted, but I love Michael Penix, who I don't understand why was in some people's minds the 6th quarterback last year. To me, he's the best of all of them. You got Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Jason McCarthy, who's already heard, Bo Nix in Denver, obviously Caleb Williams. The quarterbacks come in the league, and a couple have a chance to be QB1. Daniels named the starter. May might be right away. Love Penix, but he's behind Kirk Cousins. What rookie, punches you the most? Is it Caleb Williams for your hometown Bears?
Yeah, obviously I like Caleb Williams, man. I think that Caleb, he's one of those guys that there's a lot of different opinions about him. And I like Penix as well. That lefty throws a nice ball. He's smart. He gets it out quick. He loves throwing the ball down the field. I think the problem with Penix was he had a couple of big injuries in his career, and he's older. He's 25, going to be 26. So people are wondering, what is his ceiling? But I think he went to a good spot. He's going to get to learn from Kirk Cousins, obviously. And I think that team's a lot more talented than it looks. If Kirk can't stay healthy like he didn't last year, then I think Penix could come in and do some damage. I like your Penix pick, but for me, I like Caleb, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bears guy. I've seen all of training camp, right? I've been to pretty much most of the practices of Bears training camp. And he'll come out there and he'll have some bad days. And I'll be like, man, this guy might not be the next day he comes out. He has a great day. He'll throw 2 picks that are ugly. And I don't like seeing that. But what I like to see is how he responds to that. He throws 2 picks. Some guys will spiral. I've seen it happen before. He comes back the next play and fires a dart, a strike, and starts celebrating, chirping the defense right after he threw 2 interceptions. So this guy, some people take it for bravado, for he's arrogant, but he is just a different breed. These guys, growing up today in the LA lifestyle and stuff are just a little bit different. It's not the way I came up. It's not the NFL I was in, but that guy is confident. And for me, I like when my quarterback's maybe a little bit delusional as far as the amount of confidence he has. And this year, the main reason I think he's going to be so good, look who he's throwing it to, Paul. You got Keenan Allen, who's been looking amazing. There was that fake report out there. He's looking fat and slow. And I'm going, I've been at every training camp. This guy can't be guarded. Because you got DJ Moore, who just got a $100 million contract, making plays. You draft Rome Odunze, who looks like the real deal, 6'3", 210, 4'4",
and his college teammate.
And then you got Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett at tight end, and we all know who his running back is, DeAndre Swift. Swift's been looking great. I thought he was maybe the Eagles' offensive line, maybe help this guy. No, Swift is going to have a big year. He's been catching the ball. He's been hitting the hole. I think Swift plays as well as he did last year behind that Eagles offensive line. And that's the reason I think Caleb can come out swinging, because they have a ton of stuff around him.
All right. You went to school at Southwest, it used to be Southwest Missouri State, now called Missouri State. And Missouri, for anybody who doesn't know license plates, is the show me state.
Show me.
And in the NFL, not a lot of quarterbacks, not a lot of players drafted high or veterans get to show anybody anything in the preseason. Jalen Hurts, I played as much as he did in the preseason, second year. Caleb played a bunch. Mahomes played a little bit. How big is a rookie or vested veterans in general? If you're a coach, obviously every player is different, every situation is different. But in general, what are you looking at for players actually getting a little action in the preseason and dipping their feet in the water?
I'm old school on this, Paul. I'm old school here, so I want my guys to play. And back in the day, there was 4 games. I wanted to play a couple of series the first game. Your starters play a couple series. Second game, maybe they'd play a half. Third game, they play into the third quarter. And then the fourth game, okay, now you're getting ready. You're looking forward to the next week. You know why? Because here's the deal. The first game, you just want to break. Okay, you want to get used to playing under the lights. You want to play against somebody else. Second game, you want to go through your routine again. And you want to play a whole half of football, the first quarter, second quarter. Third game, you want to remember and you want to get that routine down for when you come out at halftime, right? You don't want to start the season and, okay, now we got to play another half of football now. Let's see what's going on. Fourth game, yeah, let them rest. You go through, you start scouting that first team, the first week of the year. If you're the Eagles, let's start putting some salsa. I don't know if they do salsa down there in Brazil or whatever, what kind of music you're putting against the Packers. You're looking at Jordan Love. Obviously, got a new defensive coordinator. You're looking at stuff he likes to run. Cool with me. But you need to play, especially if you're a young guy. There's nothing like reps. To me, your routine, you're going through something you've never been through before. You got to know what you're doing before the game, how you're reacting when it's the end of the first quarter, halftime, when you come back out. So I'm old school, but I like to see these guys play. I know injuries are a part of the game, but I'm a guy that I wanted to play personally, and I think that the more guys played, the better they did to start the season. Week number 1 matters the same amount as week 17. So get a good start, and how you do that, reps and experience.
And a lot of people, people say Bill Belichick says the first month of the season is like the preseason now. I agree with you. I think you got to get a little bit of it done. And the Eagles obviously going to Brazil. We'll talk about that when we come back from the break. By the way, Clay Harbor's our guest. You know about my connection to the Chicago Bears, right?
I
have a deep personal connection to the Chicago Bears. Kevin Warren and I, the team president, went to school together for a year at Penn. I met him a couple times, don't really know him, but anytime a Quaker gets a great job like that, I'm on board. So I'm not exactly saying go Bears, go Eagles. If the Bears win a couple, not bad, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. We're going to talk about the Brazil game. Eagles going to Flamenco Town, Sao Paulo, Brazil, to open the season against the Green Bay Packers in a stadium that doesn't allow green. That's interesting. Both teams green-based. One team Green Bay, one team are green. We'll talk about that game and the NFL season and look around the league at some things that happened today and a little funny stuff as well with Clay Harbor as the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA continues after this. Stay with us, folks.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com. Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
Alrighty, we're back here on the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB, 107.3 FM, and seen live at WBCBsports.com. Clay Harbor is our guest on this first show of the season, the preseason. Games are all over. Cuts happen today. 53-man rosters will juggle around. Howie Roseman will see what's on the waiver wire and the like. And by next Friday, obviously, that rotation will be made. Eagles will be in Brazil, Clay Harbor, for their opening game of the season. You played a few of these London games, expanding that to Brazil, South America, God knows where else. Tokyo, they say. What's it like to play a game in an environment like that, where you obviously have obligations with fans and others? Take us through a week of a road trip for an NFL team, and this is a long one in Sao Paulo.
Man, I don't know where to start here. There's a lot of moving objects here. So first things first, you got to have a mature team. But you're going down to Sao Paulo, Brazil. I mean, these are young men. So a lot of them are going to want to, hey, let's go see this bar, this club, this part of town. And, it's a lot of excitement. And we had guys in London. They're in London. They're in a new country. Yeah, we'd go through practice, but then they were adults that give us some free time. And some guys would be out as soon as the final whistle blew. I wasn't one of those guys, Paul, okay? I was one of the guys who went back to my room, studied my playbook, got ready to practice. But we ended up getting our brains beat in the first year because we had a young team and a lot of people were out and there were events and they were having fun being over there. So for me, it comes down to you have a veteran team. Are you experienced? Are you going to be focused? And I think the Eagles have a leg up here because Jalen Hurts, this dude, I know Jalen, he is 100% football. He's all football. A.J. Brown is all football. Devontae Smith is all football. These guys, they're big-time players, are not going to be doing things they shouldn't. They know they're going there for a business trip, and I think that helps them. But there's a lot to be said for the travel, the routine, making sure that you're getting your film study in because you got so many different things going on. The training staff, how you're getting your training in. It's just, there's so many different moving parts to it. And then before the game, your clock's off. So just whoever handles that better, I think has the leg up. But I really like the Eagles where they're at. That's because their players, their guys are true professionals, and they got a good mix of veteran guys in there. Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, like these guys are going to make sure that they're doing the right things. They're not going to get caught up in the atmosphere of being in Sao Paulo, Brazil, playing an NFL football game, everything going up. They're going to be honed in and focused, and I think Nick will do a good job of making sure that they are.
In their Friday opener, that's another new thing. You talk about veterans and mature kids, and the Eagles have a little new on their team, other than draft picks on defense, little retirement on the offensive line. Some guy named Jason Kelce, who started about 11,000 consecutive games, 6-time All-Pro, going to the Hall of Fame, has opportunities at the Wazoo podcast, $100 million today, Clay. Wish we had a podcast that was $100 million like New Heights. But the New Heights Cam Jurgens is going to at the center position, and Mekhi Becton at the right guard. Even with Jeff Stoutland, regarded as good or better than any offensive line coach in the NFL. Coaches don't play, people do. How much will the Eagles offense be affected by Jason not being there, Cam Jurgens recognizing the defense, getting to the second level? What's that transition going to be like?
Well, you can't run certain plays because Jason Kelce was so quick and explosive that you could literally run plays that no other team could. He could just get to certain spots that most guys couldn't. He could reach a 3 technique and most centers can't. He could reach a linebacker, a backside linebacker on specific plays because he was so fast. And obviously he was smart and he could point out a defense. But when I was at camp, talking to guys and seeing Cam Jurgens, everybody's really high on him. And I think he's going to have a good year. Obviously, he's not going to be Jason Kelce, but when you got Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson on the same offensive line, Landon Dickerson, I don't think he's on Jordan and Lane's level, but he's up there with them. I think Mekhi Becton has looked really good. And obviously, Tyler Steen is a good player whenever he is healthy enough to play. But I think they'll have a good line. It's not going to be as good as it was, but I think Jalen is at the point now to where he doesn't need any help with making these calls. And I think that if he didn't have Kelce for his first couple of years, might have been a bigger issue. When you're a young quarterback, your center really matters. But now that he's gotten the experience, coming into this part of his career, he'll be able to handle that. He knows what he's looking at. He's seen it all before the last couple of years, and now he'll be able to really take that on as his own.
All right, I'm going to give you a question now that's not a question. I'm just going to say a word or a name, and let stream of consciousness roll through Clay Harbor's head. Saquon Barkley. You mentioned Swift, who's now in Chicago. Saquon's here. Go.
Saquon, he'll be a weapon, but I don't think he's going to be as good as everybody thinks he is. I know the Eagles' offensive line is better than the Giants. Brian Dable was my old tight end coach in New England when I played there. I had a cup of coffee with the Patriots. Paul Dable, awesome guy. I think he's going to have a big year. He's going to make a difference, but he's not going to be a 12, 13, 14, 1,500 yard rushers. I think he hits 1,000. I don't think he's as big of an upgrade over DeAndre Swift as a lot of people do, but I think he's still got some juice. I was really impressed with Will Shipley when I was down there at camp. I thought he looked good.
Clay used to host a game show called I Like to Trade for People Who Are Holding Out and Not Sign Them to a Contract for No Reason, then watch my own team get destroyed by that particular act. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Joe Douglas and the Jets, Clay, who traded for Hassan Reddick for some god unknown reason. Joe's not an idiot. Worked under Harry Roseman for a while. Didn't sign him. We know about the Jets' expectations, Aaron Rodgers, the whole 9 yards. How do you do that, A? And B, where do you see Hassan Reddick landing? He's obviously going to play this year, but how long is it going to take? Will he be in football shape? What's he going to get? Your thoughts?
I don't know how a miscommunication like that happens. I mean, they offered him one contract. They thought that contract was going to get done. That's all there is to it. They thought that he was going to take a number. For whatever reason, they didn't do the research. They didn't cross their T's and dot their I's, and they didn't do the research. They thought they're going to be able to get that deal done with that one offer they made. And he obviously thinks that he's worth more than what they're offering. I know he's aging, but For defensive ends and edge rushers, and I think Hassan Reddick's a guy that's old enough, I think he'll still have an impact and he'll play his way into shape. And those guys, you need to be in shape, but you're rushing the passer, right? So you need to be more explosive. Conditioning isn't as big as, say, a position like cornerback or safety, wide receiver, running back, even linebacker. You're a D lineman, man. You got 4 steps to make a move and to really affect the quarterback. And Hassan Reddick is an expert at that. I think he could show up tomorrow, and obviously he's going to have to knock a little rust off, but I don't think that would take but a couple weeks, and he could still be a big weapon for the Jets. But it's like you said, how do you even find yourself in this scenario? And it doesn't even seem like they're at a point to where they're even talking, and they're even trying to figure out the contract situation. So I don't know how this one ends.
He has all the leverage because of what's going on in the league this year. I'd like to be in Hassan Reddick's position right now because the Jets realize they look like fools for doing what they did. They're going to have to sign him, especially with that fan base and an owner that's breathing down your neck. As we are at cut day, Clay, season starting next week, games every day of the week, contracts are an issue, and there's always that few holdouts. Obviously, Hassan's one of them. CeeDee Lamb signed a couple days ago. Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco, what's going on with that? Jamar Chase went back to practice, even though he's got 2 years left in his contract in Cincinnati. Where do you see the Brandon Ayuk situation? It's an interesting one. The Niners really need him. Supposedly had that you don't hear it lately. What do you think happens with a couple of other guys?
I think Ayuk is going to get some sort of a incentive, a sweetener, and he'll end up staying in San Francisco because at this point in the year, he's got control of where he goes. For him to go to the place he wants to, get paid what he wants to, with the quarterback that he wants to, and with the 49ers getting in return what they want, to me seems like an awful lot. Okay, I think they're just going to have to give him a sweetener. Okay, we're this much under the cap. Here's an extra $5 million this year. We'll let you be a free agent next year. We promise. Put something in writing. Here's your signature there. Throw them some extra dollars, and then let them go out there and play. So I think that's what you're going to see with the Ayuk situation. Chase, I think they might have told him, hey, man, we know how important you are to us, but it is only your 3rd season. We are going to make you one of the highest paid receivers. Just come back to practice and let's figure this out. And then CeeDee Lamb, man, he got paid. And I think they had to do it. He had all the leverage in that situation because he's so important to that Dallas offense. Who they throwing the ball to? Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson. Like they're just not the same team without CeeDee Lamb. I wasn't minding all this going on. I think it was better for the Eagles, right? But I think they did the right thing. 2nd highest played wide receiver in the league. I still think AJ's better. I'm a little biased. But it was good. He deserved it. And it was good for them to get that done.
And, of course, Dak in Dallas and Michael Parsons, we'll see what happens along the road there. When we come back, I have a question for Clay about a guy who was drafted near where Clay was, who walked into the Eagle locker room. And I have a question about the impression he made on Clay and others. What am I talking about? You will find out when the Pro Football Report continues, presented by BCWSA, with our guest Clay Harbor. I'm Paul Jolovitz, in for Miro Reese, who's in the Hall of Fame, by the way. We're back right after this.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit PennCommunityBank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com. Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO today.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's summer of shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven. This is Tommy Green from the 1993.
Final segment of the Pro Football Report will be here again next week. My show, the Monday Night Kickoff with Paul Jolovitz, starts September 9th from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. Love you to make it on out. We have plenty of great guests on this show and that show. Clay Harbor's our guest today. Clay was a 4th-round draft pick in 2010 of our Philadelphia Eagles. Played here a few years. Made an impression on me as a football player, more as a person, just a very nice guy, as is a guy named Jason Kelsey, who was drafted in the 6th round, Clay, from Cincinnati in 2011, walked into the locker room. If I said to you the day he walked in, there's the greatest player at his position maybe that there will ever be. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer, a cultural icon, a Philadelphia legend. You would have told me what?
I thought Jamal Jackson was going to be our starting center that year, man. So, I mean, he threw me off. What I did realize was how athletic this dude was. For a center, I go, man, this guy can cover some ground because that's like he could get to specific blocks that most centers couldn't. He's reaching a guy that's in the opposite gap. But like you said, Paul, for him to be able to do what he has done is just incredible. Going back to that Kels when he got drafted, we used to play this game called it was Wayne Gretzky hockey, but we called it Wayne Brewski hockey because every time your opponent hit a goal, you had to chug a beer. You know, Kelsey was a ton of fun, was a great teammate, guy that worked hard in the weight room, but just really smart and really, really fast. And I remember talking to him in his first training camp, like, man, why do you run so much after the plays? And he was like, man, I'm trying to make the team. I'm letting these coaches know how fast I really am. And he was a guy for a center that was fast. He was like a linebacker type body that could play center and block guys. So that was the first thing I thought. I did think that Jamal Jackson was going to be our starting center. Dumb of me. And that's even being in the same room as these guys. But Kelsey earned every bit of it. The guy went through a bunch of, hard games, tough seasons, and came out on top. So love to say, call him a friend.
You came in 2010, Clay, when a guy named Andy Reid was still the Eagle coach. throughout your Eagle career. Andy Reid was the coach, and then Chip Kelly came in. We know what happened after that, and then Doug, and Nick, and the like. Andy Reid has left the Eagles, had a pretty nice run in Kansas City, might wind up as the leading winner of all time. Super Bowls, who knows how many he's going to win. Obviously, some guy named Patrick has something to do with that. But can you think of anything when you came in that Andy Reid was still learning that he might have applied in Kansas City? How did the Eagles experience help him become a better coach in Kansas City? Or is it just natural progression that you're going to learn as you go on?
From the places I've been, I've was able to work with a lot of coaches. I was able to not coach under Belichick, play under Bill Belichick. I was able to play under, obviously, Andy Reid. I was able to play under Sean Payton. I was able to play under Jim Caldwell. So there's a lot of guys, successful guys that did things very different. And the thing about Andy that I think was different than everybody else was like the personability, how everything was so personal. And he was kind of the overseer at the time. I think he's calling plays again now, but he knew he could look at a play and see exactly what happened standing right back there like a deep safety. And I don't know how the guy would know exactly what happened on every play and exactly what you do. He's like, hey, I know what you did. You did the swim move when you should have did. You exposed your shoulder. Well, how did you know I did that when you were watching the whole play? The guy just had an uncanny ability. It was almost like, those readers they got a photographic memory. They can just see something you remember. He could just see everything. And he was just so intelligent about the offensive game of football that it was just hard for him. It was hard to not respect that. And then you hear the term players coach, true players coach, and all the guys loved him. And he was just a guy that was so likable and you wanted to play for him. And he gave you your respect and he gave you your freedom, but you still did the right things because Andy Reid was your coach. So he was just a special guy, new offense, very creative, gave the players a lot of freedom, wanted you to go out there and cut it loose, he would always say, and just gave you the confidence to go out there and play your game. And now when you pair a coach like that with a player like Patrick Mahomes, I think you got a dangerous combination. A guy that you're telling to go out there, and one of the terms you'd always say is let your personality show and cut it loose. He wasn't worried about overcoaching you. He was going to put you in the best decision and then let you go out there and be you. And that's why I think Andy was so successful.
All right, Clay, Andy Reid begins this year with 31 other coaches, Jeffrey Lurie, 31 other owners, and trying to win the Super Bowl, the Lombardi Trophy in Miami this year, Super Bowl 59. What team do you think has the best shot? What kind of shot you think the Eagles have? Strap your Swami hat on and what comes out.
Yeah, I think NFC wise, I'm not. I think the Lions and the Packers and the Eagles are my three teams in the NFC. I know I left out the 49ers, but I just think they're going through a weird time. Trent Williams isn't in camp. If you have Trent Williams, that changes a lot of things. You don't realize how important that is to have the best left tackle in football. Okay, you don't have to worry about this rusher at all. You could be so comfortable back there as a quarterback, and now Ayuk's not in there. I think they're obviously going to be good. But I think the Lions this year, they're going to improve off of last year. If Dan Campbell just doesn't have all those brain farts, I mean, they're in the Super Bowl. They're a play away from the Super Bowl. I don't know what he was doing. You look at the Packers. They beat the brakes off the Cowboys in the playoffs. They put up a 40-burger, and they should have won. They should have beat the Packers in the second round. They have a young receiving core. They got a young defense. Jeff Hafley, I think the new defensive coordinator is going to come in and do some big things. Jordan Love. He was Jordan-like with me before, but now he is Jordan Love because he's the real deal, man. I hate to say it as a Bears fan. The second half of the season, the guy was incredible. And then, I think the Eagles are going to return to 2022 form. I'm not just saying that. Going to camp, seeing these guys play, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, these are pros. These guys know how to call offense and defense. They got a ton of talent. Then the AFC, how are you going to go against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes? I'm sorry, that's how far it goes. I think the Bengals with Joe Burrow, you can never count them out. And then I think, obviously, the Ravens, you can never count them out with Lamar Jackson. Those are going to be the two guys that Patrick Mahomes have to beat. under the radar team, I think, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston Texans getting all the love this year, Paul. Everybody loves CJ Stroud. D'Amico Ryans, my former teammate. I think Doug Peterson, I think Trevor Lawrence. You forget, they were leading the AFC South last year until Trevor went down, came back, tried to play injured. Christian Kirk was injured. Calvin Ridley was injured. They all tried to play, but that's when you saw that down slope. So I think that the Jaguars are an underrated team this year too.
All right, we got 32 teams again trying to get it all. Eagles and the Packers in week 1. Packers pretty good with quarterbacks, kind of like Pittsburgh with coaches. They get one. You think good things. Jordan Love is a good one. Packers are a good team. 10 days out. Obviously, we don't know about injuries, assuming everybody stays healthy. What do you think happens down in Sao Paulo?
That's a tough one to call, man, because like I just said, what I say, 3 teams in the NFC, 2 of them were the Packers and the Eagles. It's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I got the Eagles 28-24, something very close, but I think that the dual threat ability with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and just how good they looked when I was at camp, I think they're gonna be a tough team to stop. I like that how he reinvested in the linebackers, and I know the Eagles edge rushers aren't as good, but I think you got a couple of good cornerbacks. Darius Slay was looking like he hasn't lost a step, and the Packers have a bunch of good receivers, but none of them terrify you. I mean, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, these are good players. Jordan Reed, good players, but I think they're guys the Eagles can cover. I think Vic Fangio is going to have a good game plan and be able to corral them a little bit. Close game, but I think the Birds come out on top.
Good way to end the show. Birds come out on top. Tough one in Brazil. Hopefully we go down there. A lot of fans going to go down there. Hopefully they have a great time. Hopefully the Eagles can come out on top. Look forward to talking to you, Clay, during the year. Thanks so much for doing this. Have a great year yourself. Good luck to your Bears in the NFC North. Tough division with the Lions and the Vikings. Lost their quarterback, of course, with the Packers. Thanks so much for being here, buddy.
Appreciate it, Paul. Anytime, man.
Thank you very much. This has been the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Brianne O'Neill has produced this fine program. We appreciate that. We'll be back next Tuesday at 6 o'clock with another edition and another guest as the Eagles roll along. We'll preview the game in Brazil and much, much more of the NFL season. So for Clay Harbor, Brianne O'Neill, I'm Paul Jolovitz for the Pro Football Report saying thank you to Merrill Reese for letting me sit in. Thanks to Matt Miro for all he does. And have a great week, everybody. Go Eagles.